Hi, and welcome to episode 87 of My First Job, the podcast. Every month, we try and do a youth panel where instead of talking to people with years and years of experience, we talk to young people and look at how they're looking at their lives ahead. So, this is an inversion rather than a sort of retro look at whatever happened. Today, we are speaking about careers in dance. And we have three wonderful exponents who are raring to go. And each of them will tell us about their stories as to how they got into dance, interested in dance as as a career option, because a lot of people look at dance as saying, okay, it's a hobby. So let me introduce them one by one and then bring them on stage. So Kavya Ramesh is into Bharatanatyam. She started learning dance when she was 5 and has been practicing for over a decade now. She's a B grade artist at Doordarshan during Chennai's famous music season where people from across the world congregate. She has performed at several famous sabhas and at temples across Tamil Nadu. She has won several awards at dance competitions and plans to pursue dance as a career. So, Kavya, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me today.
Okay, great. So, Suke Bhargav has been a passionate dancer since the age of 6. He started with dance and gradually transitioned to hip hop. He's won several dance competitions and had the honor of heading his college dance team. He's committed to living for his passion and is striving to build a life around doing what he truly loves. Suke, welcome to the show.
Hi everyone, I'm just grateful to be here.
Okay. And finally, Sadhvi Anand is a final year bachelor student specializing in interior design while also teaching dance at a reputed academy. She has received her dance education in modern jazz, ballet, hip hop, salsa, contemporary, and Indian folk dances from the Temple Dance Company. Sadhvi, welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm so honored to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Great. Sadhvi, I think your mic is a little low this time. Okay, fine. So, just before we start, I'd like to let you know that this is episode 87 of My First Job, the podcast that covers engaging career journeys, and every single one is full of twists, turns, and insights. I'm Venu Gopal Nair, the host of the podcast and CEO of Ideascape Communications, an advertising agency into branding, creative, and design. And I'm sure these young people will have a lot of things, enjoyable things to say. So, Kavya, why don't we start with you? When did you really know, or when did you start off with dancing? I know it's the age
Uh,
of 6, but can you recall the first time?
yeah, actually, I think I was around 5, 4.5, 5, and there was this program that was going on TV. It was during the December-January season, and they were um, telecasting a Bharatanatyam program, and I vividly remember like the costume and the way she was dancing, and I was like, "Wow, I need to do this. This is what I want to do." And I think I didn't let my mother go till she like joined me in a class, and she made me learn dance. I think that program was that the time I knew I wanted to pursue dance.
Okay, great. Suke, what about you? What was your introduction?
So I think one thing that all of us have in common here is we've been learning for a very long time since we were a kid. Uh, and throughout, I don't really have a moment where I decided that dance is going to be my career. Uh, but then I've been dancing my whole life. It's always been part of my life. So I've been learning since when I was 5, 6, and then in school I started competing. And in college I had the opportunity to head my team N2K, and we won a lot of national level competitions, and it was great. I also interned at a few companies for like an IT job, and I can gladly say that I did not feel very comfortable there.
Okay.
So I think That is when I decided I think I should probably do something that I genuinely like doing and not end up at a job where I have to sit in front of a computer all day and do
Yeah,
something that I don't like. Yeah.
great. Okay, so you obviously like being on the move. Sadhvi, what about you?
Um, I think that dance was already like was my destiny because my mom used to take me when she was pregnant with me. She used to take me to salsa classes and sit there and watch. And it seems
Okay.
every time they played the music, I'd kick and I'd like actually enjoy it when she was pregnant itself. So I think it was something that I was destined to do. But when I moved to Chennai, my mom thought that it would be a good idea to join me to classes, and that's when I joined Temple Dance Company. And since then, I think it's something that I've fallen in love with. I've had like struggles with it, and I still it's something that I enjoy and hate at the same time. I still have like these different emotions with it, and I push through. So something that I've enjoyed, and it's not something like I mean Suki and Kavya have been doing it since they were 5 and 6 years old. I started when I was 10, so it was not something I've done since I was very young. But I'm glad I did choose it, and I'm happy of taking it into a career now.
Okay. But Sadhvi, I think if you were kicking around while you were in your mother's womb, that's actually a pretty early start.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, not professionally, but yes, it is an early start.
Agree. So, one of the things that I want you guys to tell me is about what were some of the early incidents when you were dancing that you remember? Okay. So, Kavya, why don't you go first?
Some of the early incidents that I remember was when I first joined classes and when I was first introduced to the world. It The first ever memory that I have of like a proper dance class was having extreme muscle pain. Like I just came
Okay.
home with sore legs and hands, and I was just praying that it recovers quickly. But I also remember this feeling of freedom because I was able to move around and express myself in ways apart from words. So, and I used to look at like the older akkas and wonder when I would be in their position and teaching younger students. And the like when I learned new steps, the excitement that obviously accompanied with it, like those were like my first memories of like learning dance.
Okay. Great. Suke, anything that stands out for you?
I was also part of Temple Dance Company when I was young, and I used to go on stage a lot. And I am very my memory is very bad. I have very poor memory, and in terms of just anything else. But then I like vividly remember stages that I was on with TDC, with Temple Dance Company. I can point out, yeah, this was when I was in sixth. This was when I was in seventh grade, and that is something I think is a good thing because I don't usually remember anything else from back then. I remember very few things.
Okay. No, but you remember what is most important, which is where your life is on stage. So I'm saying that's a
That's
great thing.
very true. Yeah.
Okay. So Sadhvi, what about you? What are some of the incidents that you recall?
There is one which actually boosted my confidence in dance. Actually, so it was when I moved here, and it was the first time when my teacher actually saw me dance in a different place, and he gave me an opportunity to do solo. And I was like 7 8 years old. I was very young, and so everyone else was just watching and clapping for me, and I did a solo, and it really did boost my confidence. And since then, it's I think that's the confidence that I carry throughout my performances.
Okay. Great. So there was, I don't know if this book was in Malcolm Gladwell or if it was one other thing where this girl who really had a problem sitting quietly in class, her teacher called her mother and told her that, look, there seems to be a problem because your kid is really fidgety, can't seem to sit in class at all. So the mother takes the child to the doctor, And then in the middle of talking to her, he just says, I'd like to speak to you. And, he asks the mother if she can step out. And before he steps out, he switches on the music. And while they're outside, the mother wonders why he's done that. He looks inside and he sees that the child has got up from the chair and started dancing. And he says, there's nothing wrong with your daughter. She simply expresses herself in movement as opposed to words. So, I mean, it requires somebody really perceptive to understand that. And I think that's one of the things that, whether it's parents or teachers or anyone who may not understand that this is the reason why the child is different or that is what they are interested in. So, I'd like you guys to tell me what is it that you feel just before you go on stage, or what are the parts of a dance that make you come alive?
So moments before I go on stage, I'm obviously very nervous. I tend to get stage fright, really bad stage fright. But it's usually before I do a solo performance or even a group performance, I have a moment with my teacher. I'm very grateful for that. I have a few quiet moments with my teacher, and I think that I give her my salange, that is my ankle bells, and I ask her for her blessings, and I think that really like calms me down and brings me and grounds me to the moment and prepares me. And my teacher's words of affirmation saying you can do this, or focus here or focus there, I think that really gives me the push or the confidence to say, okay, I can do it, I can figure it out. Because there have been
Right.
times when I'll be shivering, and a few words from my teacher would immediately like calm me down. And I think that's really what happens behind the stages.
Okay, great. Suki, you don't seem to, you sort of, you go into it naturally, is what you said, that you remember the stage and you remember the setting, or do you remember what your part in it is going to be? What exactly happens?
So I usually am not stressed. I don't feel stressed. I don't have stage fear before I go on stage. Uh, and most of dancing is about being able to express myself. It's not just about the movement, it's about me being able to convey what I want or be able to reach an audience using the movement. And just the movement is not going to cut it if you're not showing your expressions and stuff. So um, before I go on stage, I'm just grateful to be there, be in that position, because not a lot of people get to compete and be on stage and get to experience that. Being on stage is an experience, and not a lot of people get to do it. So I'm just grateful to be there. I just enjoy the moment. I'm not too stressed about it, and I just go and like have fun.
Okay, great. Sadhvi, what about you? What happens?
I am nervous in the beginning. It kind of feelings kind of mutual, like very gradually goes down. So I'm first nervous. I'm jumping around. I'm trying to get all the nerves out of my system. But then I think when I get on stage and the lights hit me and I feel the music, I kind of just tend to flow with it, and it's my happy place. So when I'm on stage and I have all of that, all the lights, and my friends are cheering for me inside, and my family's in front of me, I think that's the best feeling in the world. So from that nervous, like anxiety child inside, I kind of become this like fireball on stage is what I would call myself. So that's what I think happens. But it's a very gradual thing, and I kind of love the feeling. So even if I'm nervous, I love that feeling of the anxiety
Yeah.
before going on stage.
So, people who are into drama and theater, for them, the obsessive bit is, I shouldn't forget my lines, and I should somehow stay there and ensure that nothing happens. So, how do you guys ensure, no matter how much you practice, there is a point at which your body may not respond exactly the way you want at a point on stage. So I won't follow this thing of. So I'll just pick out whoever wants to go first. So Suke, why don't you go first? I'll get Kavya in next. Yeah.
So again, like I told you before, my memory is very bad. So remembering a choreography on stage is a struggle for me. But
Okay.
then I think one way that I've learned to improve on that is through continuous practice. When I had my college team, I used to train with them until midnight. We used to just keep going every single day for like 6 hours, 7 hours a day, and they also helped me. So my team also helped me. Even though I was the lead of the team, I used to forget choreography, and but then with my team, it was an easy job. They also pushed me to be better, and I think it helped when I figured out what muscle memory is. I kept learning, kept doing, repeating the same thing so that it just became a part of my body, and I didn't have to think to move, and I just moved when I listened to the music. That's what I think I worked on.
Okay, but when you're sort of practicing these steps, there is a certain sequence. And how does one get to be the lead? How is that chosen? Or you don't know how that happens.
So
People just said that.
So in our team, our seniors who finish college and leave, they just pick one of the juniors to lead the team, because leading the team does not just involve dancing. It also involves managing the team, managing finances of the team, figuring out travel, because we travel a lot. We go all over South India to like competitions. So figuring out travel, figuring out the finances, figuring out costumes and everything, that's all part of the thing. And I'm grateful to my seniors as well who picked me for the job. So
So
yeah.
obviously they saw that bit which was working for you.
Yes.
Great. Okay, so Kavya, yeah, one moment. Yeah. How has it been for you on stage? How do you remember? Or is it that there is a certain sequence, or there is a proper, so you get the opportunity to practice? Is it easier?
So everything is mathematical in like in Bharatanatyam. Every sequence there is a certain set of numbers, and I usually do constant practice. My aim is to, if I have to remember the steps, then I put it in my muscle memory. But in case there have been moments where on stage I blank out, but the mathematical structure of the sequence, it helps me improvise. So instead of doing 4 beats to my right, and if I forget, I can do 4 beats forward or 4 beats back, or you can do another step that's again 4 beats. So in that way, if even if I don't have it in my muscle memory, I always try to remember the sequence or the structure of the sequence. So even if I forget the exact moment, I do have space to improv on stage itself.
Okay, so maybe for the audience, they may not be able to make out, but you know
No,
that you've shifted, or the
yes.
audience makes out, is that? Okay.
No, so since there is talam, there's a concept of talam, and since my dance has to be according to talam, if it is, then nobody makes out. Maybe my teacher will, and those who know my dance will. But if not, then if I miss a beat, then it's very obvious, or else it's pretty smooth, and you can't
Okay.
usually see the improv.
Difference that's there. Okay. So what about you, Sadhvi? What happens? Do you
I don't think I blank out. I try to kind of hide it and try to cover it. Even recently, there was like a performance that I had done, and I did the same step 3 times. And I remember it's a nightmare to me that I did that on stage. But then my sister was like, "No, because you did the other hand the right way and you did one hand the wrong way, so it didn't look like you made a mistake." So I try to hide it, but if it's a group, it's more obvious that you forget something. But my work for performing on stage is something that I vigorously do. I just make sure that I know it, and whatever happens on stage happens. So that's what I tell myself, because stage is very unpredictable. It's like it's all the nerves, it's everything that is included. Like when you're in your studio, it's just you, your team, your teachers, but on stage it's like 600 to 1,000 people and you don't know what's going to happen. So I just go with the flow, just try not to make facial expressions that I made a mistake and keep smiling throughout, and then I figure it out, and then I go and yell at myself in the wings. So that's what I do.
Yeah. So facial expressions would be a dead giveaway of saying, "Hey, I did something there which was not okay." Okay. So how do you think of, how are you going to take this forward? What are the things that you do in order to say, this is what um, I'm doing now, and where do you think the improvement happens? So, Kavya, I think you can go with this. Why don't you? Yeah.
In terms of improving, I constantly review my videos. Every single performance that I do, I review the videos that I have. And it's also my teacher. She constantly guides me. She says, last program you did this program, try to do it a bit better. Even if it's not wrong, there are certain small details that you can add that like makes your dance leap by bounds. So I think it's by constant reviewing of what you've done, and with the guidance of my teacher, that I try to move
So, give me an
forward.
example, Kavya. What is that small little difference that you can do? In a music note, I know they say the alap or whatever it is, the way you do it. So, what is the equivalent in dance?
So there are certain places where I would have previously done it very sharply. I would have just turned my head and I would have just looked straight. And my teacher will say, "No, don't do that. Do it a little more gently. Imagine that you're sweetly looking at someone, and that will change the tone of the entire thing that I'm doing." And especially if I'm doing pure expression pieces, every single time I work on that piece, it's a different experience altogether because I grow with the piece. I there are new there are every single time I take the piece, there are some changes that I bring in. So I'm like, instead of being angry, why not get annoyed, or no, let me be sad this time, or I'll try to change it up. And that's, I think, in that way I try to improve.
Okay, great. So, Suke, as far as you're concerned, you're leading. The people are behind you. I'm assuming that when you start off, you have to be 100% sure that your steps, or how do you ensure that all that is coordinated? How do you keep
So,
improving?
we have choreographers for the college team who come and
Right.
choreograph the piece. My job is just to enforce the piece, make sure my team and I get the choreography properly, and get it into our muscle memory and don't mess up on stage. I think that is majorly my job. And yeah, so but then improving, I think dance is a very physically demanding activity, and being able to do it as a career or even as a passion requires you to be physically very strong. So I think even with my team, even right now, as a part of a company called High on Dance, I think physically being able to keep improving yourself, uh, doing workouts every day, and keeping myself physically strong, because it adds to the intensity of the performance. Um, so a performance cannot be just in this line. It has to there has to be a curve in the dance performance, and to maintain that you need to be physically strong enough to show that, for it to reach an audience, for them to be able to visualize the music, the intensity of the music as well. I think so. Physical growth is what I think is the main importance for a dancer. Yeah.
That's how you see it. Okay, great. Sadhvi, what about you? What are the things that you think you will look forward to going ahead? What are the things that you want to concentrate on?
I think, like Suki and Kavya said, there are a lot of things that you can do, minute things and larger things that you can do to improve in your dancing career. for example, like flexibility, strength, and then just your emotions, feeling the song. So I would never say that the learning stops at one point. You're always going to be learning, and you're always going to be pushing yourself to achieve higher things. There's always like some new technique, there's something new that you can always figure out, try to learn, a combination of steps that you can put together. So testing your boundaries and pushing your limits is something that I believe in, and I think that any dancer should do. So that's the way I would improve
Look at
in.
doing this. Okay. Okay. So it's different when you look at dance as something that you want to do as a hobby, and it's very different when you're looking at it on a professional. So how do you sketch this out as a career? What are the things that you're doing in order to ensure that this can become a career option for you? So, Kavya?
So
Yeah.
So in the field of Bharatanatyam, it's not just teaching and learning that I can do. There are multiple branches that are multiple job opportunities that are available for dancers. So you can be a choreographer, you can be a designer, both props and costumes. You can be a makeup artist, you can be a music composer, and you can also be a social media content creator or somebody who advertises a school or markets a school and their performances. So I'm currently studying, I'm pursuing my bachelor's in communication skills from Stella. And I've been trying to put those skills into use, and you like trying to see how I can make use of the skills that I learned in college with dance. So in I hope like I feel that in today's world social media plays such a huge role that if you are a dancer you need to have some social media backing up, and I've been looking into how to do that and how to incorporate both my worlds and form one career path that's like the best of both worlds.
Great, Kavya. I think you've touched on quite a few interesting things, which I'll come back to a little later. So, Sadhvi, what is it? You, of course, also do interior design.
Yes.
So, you mentioned that that is something that is a good thing to do because you enjoy doing it. But if you're looking at a career in dance, what is the way forward that you see?
I'm seeing myself, I think, in the future having a studio. But for that, right now, I think my process of getting there is observing my teachers. I'm looking at how they are teaching students, and the kind of teacher I would like to be. I mean, like Kavya said, there's so many fields that you can go to when you're a dancer, like a performer, and all those things I have touched. I have performed on stage. I have done choreographies. I've done so many things. But one thing that I actually love doing is bonding with children and teaching them things. So it is something that I'm looking forward to. But right now, my main focus is observing my teachers, seeing how they take classes, how to not scold a child and get work done from them and stuff like that. So I'm trying to figure it out. I don't think I have a plan yet, but I am trying to figure it out and kind of come up with a plan to have a successful career in dance. And it is taking time, but I mean, we all have time for all of it. So I think I'm taking it
Yes,
slowly.
absolutely. One thing that you do have is a lot of time right now at this stage. Great. So, Sagi, what about you? How do you see this panning out
Uh,
as a career?
so dance is an art form, and usually taking an art form as a career is something that is extremely looked down upon, I think. Not many people, I think, till date, I don't think a lot of people accept uh, dancing as a career. So I mean, I'm glad that I'm being part of a podcast that talks about dance as a career, because it's something that's been looked down upon a lot. Um, so again, I'm grateful to be able to do this, able to pursue dance as a career. I know a lot of people who have wanted to pursue their art forms, be it dance, be it theater, be it music, singing, playing an instrument, whatever it is. I think they would have planned to become an artist along the way in their life, but then some things wouldn't have worked out, and they had to drop their plan midway of becoming an artist and go take up a job. Uh, I think it all comes down to the financial aspect. Uh, One of the main reasons that it's looked down upon is it does not have like a stable income source. I think it depends on shows. It depends on the number of stages you go on. It depends on if you're winning competitions, and so financial stability. I think that is what I would personally start working on through dance as a career, finding opportunities to be able to grow in a stable manner, because that is the main aspect that is different from a regular job, say in an IT sector. Or I did biomedical engineering at
Okay.
SSN College. So
Okay.
I interned at a company and I didn't like it, and I then came here.
Okay.
So being able to be here is such a blessing. I think I'm grateful to be able to try to make dance a career. Uh, like I said, I think for me personally, uh, to make dance a career, something that I can keep doing for like the foreseeable future, is to try to do something stable. I have a mentor at High Dance. I have Pranav sir. He guides me in the right way. So I have him who can, help me to pursue dance as a career and, stay in on the right path. Like Sadhvi said, it's important that we look up to our teachers, our mentors, because they have been able to do it. So I think following them, following their words, I think that will
Yeah.
help me also to find stability with dance as a career.
Great. See, one of the things that I see about careers which are um, non-conventional, for want of a better word, is that there isn't a business out there where you can do it throughout the year. Like Chennai, the music season or the dance season is, in November, December, and it doesn't. Whereas abroad, one of the things that happens is that throughout the year there are these performances, and people are able to, find ways and employment or performances to just keep improving. So creating that ecosystem could be one of the ways in which you can figure out where that network, how it should happen. Those are the things which I think social media now gives you a much better option to kind of expand that whole setting. So why don't we spend some time talking about how social media does make a difference? And so, Sadhvi, you want to go?
Sure. Yes. So yes, social media does is a very big platform that we all are using on a daily basis, and it's a good way to reach out our talent. One thing I would say is not every high, like, you see a lot of dancers, but there's so many other dancers who should be given an opportunity to, and I feel like we should give those people those opportunities, and it's a great place to network. Like, I don't think I'm now meeting Kavya and stuff like that, and there's a lot of chances for collaboration in the future. And those are the things that I think us as artists should do: collaborate and network. And it's a very good platform if used properly. So I'm just wishing for all the artists that that's what happens for them, because it's a good platform to actually be on. um, on my side, I really don't post that much on Instagram or any other social media, but something that I am planning to do, um, and hopefully get some reach out of it. So that's something,
Okay.
fingers crossed, for the
Great.
future.
So are you trying to figure out what to do, or are you saying that I'm not ready yet and then I'll get on when I'm sure
I'm
about what I want to do?
I am sure what I want to do. There are like choreography. So for me, it's my main goal is to actually put out some of my own choreography out on the internet. But the problem I think with social media is that there are some songs or there's some tags that you have to use to get the outreach that you want. I'm not really a person who'd want to follow those norms. I don't want to use regular songs that are the famous songs and the trendy songs. I want to do things that actually are more emotional to me. Like my choreographies are more of an emotional piece that I like to put together and something that tells a story. So if I'm gonna put 110% of effort to post my work on the internet, and I don't see results, which is fine. It's like just be for my satisfaction then. But then there's no outreach for the artists who do that, something which they are so passionate about. Like they don't get that chance just because it's not trendy or it's not using the right hashtags. So I do have a plan, but let's see how that goes because of the algorithm of the
Oh,
Instagram and YouTube and stuff like that.
great, Sadhvi. Thank you. This is very perceptive. Kavya, what about you? What is your take on social media and how you want to use it?
uh, like Sadhvi said, social media is like it's a great place to market yourself, and it's a great place to network as well. Because with social media today, you can connect with artists who are not just in your city, but you can connect with artists in an international, reach as well. Uh, but I do feel that if not used properly, then it can have a lot of setbacks, because there are certain times where you are forced, like Sadhvi said, to I'm sorry, yeah, like Sadhvi said, you're forced to use audios that are trending to get the reach that you want, when in reality you want to do something that's close to your heart. So in that way, it's that part of social media I'm not really fond of, but I do enjoy the parts where I get to see different artists, I get to meet up, and I get to see other artists networking with each other, forming collaborations that probably wouldn't have happened if social media didn't exist. And yeah, that's my take on social media.
Great. Suki, what about you?
I mean,
How do you
they've
social?
they've covered it up pretty much, but then it social media has its pros and cons. Although I normally focus only on the cons because uh, social media for me it has kind of uh, ruined a lot of artists, if I can say that, because a lot of artists, like they said, they are not able to put out their own art because of all this hook steps, because of all this trendy songs. Uh, a lot of artists had to let go of their art form. So all of us, each of us, we all pursue dance, but then I dance much differently when compared to those two people. So each of us have something unique, and all dancers have something unique about them. But then that gets ruined, that gets lost when someone tries to pursue this whole thing on social media. When they go on social media, they always try to be someone else. They try to reach up to just to get enough views, just to get enough likes. They try to copy hook steps, they try to copy trending songs, and I feel like they lose their own uniqueness in the process. And the whole concept of trends and hook steps has also left artists who deserve a lot of reach, deserve their art form is very pure, they're very talented, but then they don't get to reach a proper audience because of all these trends and hook steps. But I think the good thing about social media is you get to see still proper artists that are there, that are doing it for themselves. I think one thing about social media is when you do it for yourself and not for going to reach an audience, when you do it for yourself, when you post out your own art, I think you'll find a more organic audience rather than finding people who just want to look at trends. So I think that's my take on social media. I'm not a huge fan of the trends part. I think I went on about it for a long time, but then yeah, I'm not a huge
No,
fan
no. I
about
think
all the trends.
You make some very good points, Suki. Even this, the podcast that my first job, it's something that I'm looking at for young people to simply come in and say, look at the number of jobs available to you. Anyone who thinks that there are only 5 things that you can do in your life, no. We've already reached 88. We can keep going. 87, 88. So
I
it
was
goes
thinking the
against.
exact same thing. I was thinking the exact same thing. Episode 88, I was like, oh, 88. I have 88 options that I can choose from.
Yeah,
And
yeah. So, yeah, but it's hard getting that message out there to people to tell them that you just need to sit and listen to someone who has gone through this. And I think all of you have made such wonderful points that even I, talking to a very experienced person, I don't think I would have got so much more, because the difference is that they've already been through life and they've got a perspective. You guys are already at a point where you're beginning to examine your teachers. You're saying what works and doesn't work. You have a critical, what do you say, take on social media, which is something that the older generation, which I don't have, because as far as I'm concerned, it didn't exist in the first 40 years or 45 years of my life. So it just came in, and we're just trying to figure out. Whereas for you, this is something that already existed when you're part of it, which means that you can leverage it much better than any of us can. So, how do you see the do you have a backup plan, or do you I mean, in Sadhvi's case, very clearly she says I'm doing interior design and you've done biomedical engineering. So what are the things that you think? And Kavya, what do you think of? How do you look at this and then say, what is it that I want to do? If I had to do something else besides dance, because writers have known for decades that they needed to do something else, they would have to do something else to keep themselves going. So, in your case, what do you think it is? Kavya?
Uh, I'm doing English and communications in Stella.
Okay.
So I am studying literature. I love it, with a great passion.
Okay.
So if not dance, I was thinking of pursuing the communications aspect of actually getting into either journalism or content creation. So for now, that's my backup. But yeah.
Great. Sadhvi, I think you got interior design, which
Yeah,
is.
I think interior designing, but we don't know for sure because my mind changes a lot. The only thing that's been fixed in my brain since I was a child was that I'm going to do dance. So that's the only thing that's constant, but I'm fluctuating in every other field possible.
Okay.
Um, but there are a lot of things that I am looking into, like for my masters and stuff. I'm looking into retail. I'm looking into a lot of different things. So let's fingers crossed. We don't. Let's see what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah. No, that's always the case. It's not. Suki, is there anything that you're looking at which you say, okay, if not this, I know that at least this is something close to it? Or.
um, I'm right now. I'm just glad that I get to do dance as a career, get to attempt dance as a career, because I personally don't believe in planning uh, or having a backup plan, because life is super unpredictable. I don't think me planning is going to affect how anything is going to play out. Uh, I feel like I can always. The only thing that I believe in is I will keep working hard, whatever I'm doing. If it is dance, well and good, I'm happy doing it. If it is something else, if I end up doing something else in the future, I'll come back to this podcast, look at it, laugh. uh, I'll still be happy at the end of the day. I'll keep working hard no matter what. So no backup plans, just work on myself right now.
Great, Suki. So let me ask you, Kavya, what are the ways in which you think you need to build a network, or what are the priorities that you need to have to get ahead in future?
So the ways in which I can build a network in my circle is, one, your teachers play a huge role. I've already had an opportunity to work with another school thanks to my teacher. And it's also by constantly performing and attending competitions and showing yourself in lecture demonstrations and workshops that you establish yourself as a person, and you say, hey, I'm a dancer, I exist. And
Yeah.
I think you the way you and it's in these social spaces that you meet other people who have the influence to help you grow in your field. And I think, yeah, so basically it's my teacher who plays a huge role, and as well as exploring avenues. You have to attend workshops, you have to attend demonstrations, any program, go there. If people keep seeing a familiar face, they're going to be like, okay, maybe she is actually a legitimate dancer. I think that's the view in which I am going right now. So yeah.
Okay. Great. What about you, Sadhvi? What is your network?
I think one is trying to find people. At least maybe start with your team itself. So I like to work with people in my own dance class itself. So that's what I'm trying to create in another few months. And then I think constantly just like getting out of your bubble and like talking to people, getting to know them, just creating good like friendships. I think dance is a very good place before it becomes like a career and a job. Like you can create good friendships in that whole like aspect. So I've created a lot of good friends and I'm very grateful for them, and they've given me opportunities too. And it's something that I am very grateful for. The other way is through social media, which like all of us have repeatedly said, it's not like a great place. You don't really know, but take the chance. Like if you have an opportunity to do something, do it. Like that's, you jump off the cliff, just do it. It's something that, it's a good thing. It's a, you have a good memory. If it's not, it goes,
Yeah,
it's
it
a
did work out. It's as simple as that.
learning
Yeah,
process. So that's what it is.
exactly. Exactly. Suki, what about you in terms of building a network? Do you think that's important? It's not important?
Um, it's very important to build a network. I think you can grow as an individual as well. I personally believe that you have to learn from every artist that is there. I think every artist out there has something that they can teach you, because there is always something unique about every single person here, and I feel like you can definitely learn from every single person, every single dancer out there. So I've been all over the place. I've learned from Temple Dance Company. I've learned from BFAB in United Grooves. I've learned from High On Dance. I've attended several workshops from national artists, from a few from international artists as well. And so I've been all over the place. And I think uh, the most important aspect is, I not only did I meet a lot of new people, uh, I met a lot of like-minded people, yes, but then I was also able to grow as a person, meeting new people, just not just for the contact, but then it also helped me improve myself during the process. I think that is very important aspect of the networking. Um, Again, social media is there, but then I'm just
Yeah,
not
that
very
is
keen about
more
it.
of a broadcast rather than interaction. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you a question which I'll set a background for this. I started out in copywriting a long time ago. And while I love the aspect of writing, there are things about writing, about the profession, that I don't like anywhere as much, which is, I didn't think that for the first 3 months after joining as a writer, I'd be doing proofreading. Okay. So those are the things that I really hated. So I want you to point out, a realistic assessment of the parts of dance that you may not like, but you still have to do. Kavya?
uh, in one way, it's a small thing that majorly irks me is that if I miss practice, then I it's the feel like I'm not able to take holidays or take long gaps, because if I do, then recovering and coming back and getting into my zone is very difficult. So and I'm not able to socialize with my friends as much as I would like to, because every time they're like, hey, want to hang, I'm saying no, I have practice, or I have a program, or I have something. So it's though the ability to not really meet my friends apart from like small periods of time, and not take like long, like month long, or like 2 month long vacations. I think that's what really annoys me about dance. But apart from that, I'm really grateful for like everything else.
Okay, great. That's a realistic assessment. What about you, Sadhvi?
Um, so
One more. Yeah, yeah. I'll just get you on for some reason. Yeah, sure.
like Kavya said, taking breaks is like a no-no for me. So that's one. But one thing I have noticed, at least in the last few years, since I've been taking dance very seriously, is the hours of practice, and then the amount of burnout you have after that. So I had like 6 months of like vigorous practice for a show, and then I had to do my dance classes, I had to do other performances, I had dance exam, I had so many other things. And I just go to college and I just sleep, and like all my friends and seniors, everyone would be like, that's the girl who keeps sleeping in college, she doesn't do anything else. So that's how it is. But I really don't like how the burnout is because of the vigorous practice. And sometimes it's very hard to get out of a burnout, but I do push myself. That is one. And then, yes, the not meeting people kind of is also it's kind of sad that we don't get to do those things, but we also get other opportunities like meeting people in our field. But yes, the burnout and socializing with your own friends would be one thing.
Okay, Suki, what about you?
I think they've got it covered. But then the main thing, like they said, it's the lack of time you have. Uh, when I start practicing, I lose track of time. I just keep practicing, and I take classes, and I'm just not able to follow time as such. So it ultimately ends up with me not being available for at like home, not being available for my friends, when they call to just hang out, just to meet up because it's been so long. uh, I'm like unable to make time for that. But then I think that is something that I have to work on like a personal level as well. I think fixing priorities is very important. I know I want to pursue dance as a career, I know I want to like make it through dancing, but then I have to prioritize like my family, my friends. I have to make time for all the relationships that I have. It's very important that you maintain your relationship with your parents, with your mom, with your family, with your friends. It's very important because ultimately they are the ones who support you. At the end of the day, it's not going to be a third person who's going to support you. Yeah, they may cheer for you when you're performing, but then ultimately it's what you can come back home to. So ultimately it's always your my mom, my aunt, my family,
Yeah.
and then my friends, who like keep supporting. So I think it is something that I have to put my foot down somewhere and say, yeah, I have to make time for my family. But then that is like the hardest part about doing dance as a career, the time. But then I enjoy doing dance. Like I said,
Exactly.
prioritize family and friends as well, and then I think I'm set.
Now, that's the difficult part, because once you reach these professional levels, then the difference between performers right at the top, what is the difference between Sachin Tendulkar and Virat Kohli? I mean, they both see the ball within microseconds. They've been playing for so long and they've missed out so much of stuff. So, in conclusion, why don't each of you, anyone who's looking at a career in dance, what would you tell them? Kavya? Yeah.
If you're looking for a career in dance, I would say one thing: don't restrict yourself, There are many avenues that dance opens you up for. It's not just teaching or performing. You have aspects that will match with your specific interests as well. And if you just explore a little bit, you will find what you want ultimately. And I would say to always be to have a network, and to always be grateful for your to your teachers and to your parents and all those who support you. And I would say that it's important to explore, because when you limit yourself, I think you are going to get bored, or you will say, oh, I think maybe I'm not fit for this. If you just take a moment to widen your view and to see that I can do other things with dance as well, I think that's when you hit the gold spot.
Great. Thank you. Sadhvi, what about you?
If you are planning to take a career in dance, my advice would be to not compare yourself to people on social media. It's not all glitz and glamour. There's a lot of hard work, there's a lot of blood, sweat, tears, everything, like work, sleepless nights. Um, it's a very hard working field, and it's not like it's not just the costumes and the makeup. It's a lot of work that you have to put through. So work hard, and do not compare yourself, because you have your talent and you know what you're worth. So that's what I would say.
Wonderful. Suki, how would you want to wind up?
Uh, so for anyone that's trying to make dance a career, just go for it. Keep giving your best. I think that's what matters. The truth is, you never know if you will actually make it. The truth is, it's unpredictable. You don't know if you'll be able to take dance as a career or not. You might end up doing something else. But then, don't leave your art form. Whatever it is, whatever you're doing, pursue it. Don't listen to other people when they look down upon your dance or your singing, which is something that you're very passionate about. Don't listen to people who put you down when you want to pursue it. Pursue it. If it works, it works. Well and good for you. If it doesn't, it's not the end of the world. You can always do something else, and you can always keep dancing. You can always keep performing on the side, to your heart's content. So just keep working hard. As long as you're working hard, I think you can make anything work.
Wow, wonderful. It's been such a pleasure talking to you guys, because I think you've given so many very perspectives. You have a very stable head on those very flexible bodies, because obviously you have to be physically fit, you have to move according to the music and so many other aspects. It's been a pleasure. I really got to know a lot more about how you guys think and what's in it as a career. So thank you for being on the show, and here's wishing you all the very best in the years ahead. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, great. So that was careers in dance. And next week, we'll be back with another set of careers and what is it that people are looking forward to doing. Thank you for watching, and see you around the next time, next week.